Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Thick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel. Good to be back here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Stigg. We're going to continue with the earnings theme of the morning. That's where most of our news is coming from. We will take your questions from our chat, as always, at premarket.benzinga.com and on youtube.com/BenzingaTV. We'll try to get to as many of the earnings stocks as we can. Do want to remind you folks before we continue on with the show that we are, we're like 2 weeks away now from the Benzinga, a little over 2 weeks away from the Benzinga FinTech Awards, May 15th and 16th in New York City. If you enter the promo code PMPVIP on BenzingaFinTechAwards.com, I think there's a handful of tickets left at that discount code that will get you $200 off the early bird price. So a $297 ticket is what that will get you. Again, PMPVIP is their promo code there on BenzingaFinTechAwards.com. Joel, how's it going this morning in the S&Ps?
Spencer, we had, Dennis missed you. I did
that's
too.
Good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Dennis was like, "Oh, earnings reports so much easier."
I had to do all that news, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going through the pro, but you're so fast at it, Spencer. And Joel throws me under the bus like continuously. Like I don't know where he's going with the next lead.
Yes.
I always give you a nice lead. Like
now you know what my life is like.
Drop in.
Now you
and
know.
He's just like throwing me under the bus, and I'm like 10, 12 seconds trying to look at these earnings because I'm not as quick as you, and I'm all flustered.
This is my life. Yes. This is my life every morning.
You try. Well, you're trying to trade as well, too. So April ended in the green, but not by much with all those sell-in balances. Ended March at 43 even, ended April at 47 even. Nice range overnight. 53.75 is your pre-market high. I was hoping to short it a little bit higher. Never got there. Pre-market low, 41.25. That's just above Thursday's low, so that's what we need to hold unless we're making another trip down to 2,600. Bitcoin futures in the red by $370, struggling at 9,000, similar to did at 8,000. Crude got that rally, missed the high of the move yesterday by about 17 cents, but trading in the red today by 77 cents. Great support in the lower 67 handle if you're trading crude oil futures. Gold in the red by $10.50, descending on 1,300. Silver in the red by 12 cents here at $16.28, moving ever closer to $16. So let's get right to it. We have to talk about earnings, and there was a lot of reports after the close. Where do you want to start?
Let's go to Akamai, AKAM. We'll go last night's report there, and that was kind of the big one from last night. Stock trading up a couple bucks here in the pre-market. Was trading up last night as well on their earnings. Spencer, details of Akamai.
79 cents versus 70-cent EPS, so a nice 9-cent beat there. Sales $668.7 versus $654 million, so beats on both the Q4 numbers. They gave earnings on the conference call, I believe, and they said their Q2 EPS would be between 79 to 83 cents versus 70-cent estimate. So that's a nice beat. Sales guidance on the call coming in higher as well, $658 to $670 million versus $656 million estimate. They're also the fiscal year guidance came in higher as well.
It's been in quiet consolidation here for a long time. It's trying to resolve itself to the upside here this morning. But again, I've seen so many earnings reversals that I'm just scared to chase anything that is up. It seems like half the stocks end up reversing and giving it back. I don't know if this is going to be the case with Akamai here. It traded last night. It was trading up. It's trading up here this morning. It has come off the highs slightly here, but not a ton of volume. And that's always, something to be aware of as well. Joel, thoughts on AKAM?
You just took the words right out of my mouth. Sleepy consolidation.
Well, let's move on then. He's like, man, he's already giving me a hard time.
Are you due for a vacation soon? Or
Nice.
Pre-market high, way up at 75.75, and some volume traded last night, Dennis. Not so much this morning. Finding support here in the after hours at pre-market at 73.50. That's a real light number, though. I want to get too carried away with that. If we go into reverse, look for a gap fill at 72.23. That represents yesterday's high after being up this much. You don't want to go red. And let's see here. 75.60, 75.99, couple highs in the upper 75 handle if we can go back into rally mode.
Okay, let's go to the reports from this morning because there's some good ones here this morning. Let's start with Under Armour. It reported earnings. It was lifting up here in the pre-market, but is dangerously leaking here now. We got two stocks, UA or UAA. They're both going to have the same earnings report, Spencer. And what are those details?
Yeah, again, the beating with the low expectations here. So the Q1 adjusted EPS for Under Armour was 0 cents. That beat the 6 cent loss estimate. Sales 1.2 versus $1.1 billion. Fiscal year EPS guidance in line, and revenue will be up slightly for the year, they said.
Joel, this stock got a nice lift into the earnings report. It lifted after the earnings report, but we are leaking big time here, and we are just trying to hang on to positive. If you look at the UAA, it's actually just ticked in the red. UA itself is still green, still bid slightly green, bid up 15 cents here, but definitely leaking.
I'm kind of mixed on Under Armour. I got a pair of shorts that I really don't like, and then I got a real nice pullover at the Final Four that I like. So very undecided on the issue, but looking at the pre-market trading, you had a high, that quick pop. I'm talking UAA now to 1859. That's a big area. 48 and 75s were 48 and 75 were some highs you had in February. So that's going to be your major resistance. Boy, you don't want to go in the red here, especially when you had a double top from yesterday. You're already under that. So better hold yesterday's low at 1773, or we could be right back in the lower 17 handle. Your 2-day low, 1710.
Jump over to the Merck report, MRK. It is trading just flat here in the pre-market, assuming the earnings are out, although I haven't seen a lot of action. It did tick up at 59.50. Spencer, did we get that Merck report yet?
We did about an hour and a half ago. Merck Q1 adjusted EPS $1.05, has a 5-cent beat. Sales 10.04 versus $10.1 billion. So a slight miss on the Q1 sales number. They are, however, raising their fiscal year EPS guidance by 8 cents on the low end of the range from $4.08 to $4.16. And the sales guidance for the fiscal year is being raised as well by about $500 million.
The only thing I see in the book as of note is at 61, and it's significant 74,000 shares. So for whatever reason, if it went into rally mode, I think 61, which was the high from 5 days ago, would put a lid on it. I don't know if it's got the gas to get there. It's already leaked away. It was trading up 59.50. Now it's trading flat. So I think that's probably not going to happen. But, it's all about, being opportunistic and being prepared if something does happen. And sometimes it gets a mild chop. If it gets up near that 61, I would be shorting it probably up there as a trade. Still, I like the long-term story. Still in my investment portfolio.
Big level to hold here on the downside, trading up 3 cents here at 58.90. Your close at 8.87. You're low at 8.87, and then you have a 4-day low at 8.93. So this better get off the mat right away here. Oh, you're going to be trading. How low can you go? There's some other lows in 58.42 or whatever, but big run up ahead of the report. Better hold that double bottom. We could see some red here in Merck today, and the SPOO's down 3 1/4 is probably not helping much.
And then we had Pfizer, the other big pharmaceutical giant, report earnings as well. It is trading in the red here. It was weak ahead of the report, giving back and closing almost near the lows yesterday, and then continuing lower here this morning on the earnings.
Yep, Pfizer Q1 adjusted EPS 77 versus 75 cents, 2-cent beat there. Sales 12.9 versus $13.15 billion, so a slight miss on the sales number. They did reaffirm their guidance for the fiscal year, and I also want to add that former PreMarket Prep intern Dylan Wittenberg just entered the office. But back to Pfizer.
Dennis, were you active in this thing? Oh no, you didn't get up at 5, did you today?
I'd love it if it got up near 37.5 because, and I think that was probably just somebody jumping the gun because when did they report? I do see the 500 shares. When did they report, Spencer?
Like 6:49.
Yeah, so somebody jumped the gun this morning, got too excited, bought it up at 37.25. Oops, that was the wrong call because it's trading back down. Yeah, it gets anywhere in those 37s. The book is littered with offers there. I can see 37.30, 19,000 shares, 37.45, 14,000. Then the mother load at 37.50. There's a 110,000 shares up at 37.50. So that's going to put a lid on it if it gets anywhere into rally mode. So obviously upside somewhat limited here. Downside, I don't see a lot of bids in the book, which is concerning.
And your pre-market low comes in at 35.82. You just took 35.81. So you have a buyer there. So we'll see if that buyer remains. That coincides. No, nothing really there. If it gets through there, you got another clean 20, 30 cents to 35.59. That was your April 11th low, and then it opens up to the $35 area. After that, 60 cents is a big move for Pfizer. You know, I mean, it has traded some volume. So if you get anywhere near back that close from yesterday at 36.61, I think I'd even go out 36.50 because the low was 36.40. So 35.80, 36.5, that's your early trading range in Pfizer.
Yeah, Seagate report earnings, STX. Again, and this looks a little head and shouldery to me, actually not even a little head and shouldery, a lot head and shouldery. I got that left shoulder at 60. I got the head up there to 62.50, 62.70, and I got the right shoulder formed at 60. And now I got the breakdown trying to get down through the neckline. You got the whole 56. That's the big level. It's got to get through 56 for the shorts to really be in control of this. But
it will.
A little bit of a toppy formation there on STX.
This one was just out at 8. $1.46 on the EPS versus $1.33 estimate. Sales 2.8 versus $2.75 billion. So beats on the top and the bottom.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of just I don't like the pattern, and I'm not a big pattern trader, but you do have some support at 56. I mean, there's a lot of lows right in that area, so I guess support is support until it's broken. They are trying here right now to take it out, but somebody's sitting there, looks like with an iceberg order at 56, not budging. So somebody's saying 56 is going to be the bottom.
Yeah. Did you see what they did in my Western Digital on good earnings?
Yeah, that's a problem, and it's starting to break down here too.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of tech charts that don't look very pretty. And my Micron, which I'm so glad I only bought a third of the position, that thing looks like hell. I mean, a lot of these tech stocks, besides the FANG, we know the FANG came back, storming back, and Amazon obviously made new highs on the move. But move away from the FANG for a minute and just start looking at some of these semi charts. Start looking, Intel gave it all back, but start looking, at the Microns and the Applied Materials, and we can look over there, at stocks like Seagate and Western Digital. The stocks are in breakdown mode here. It's not that pretty in tech land.
No, not at all. I wish I could have got something off with you on that Micron too, but you were too cagey on it as far as
I shouldn't have bought any of it. I wanted to have a little exposure. I got all excited. Everybody came with the $100 price targets. I got all excited with the PE, and I was like, I might chase this one a little bit. I went totally against all my rules. I'm a contrarian investor, and this is something I went totally against. When I'm only buying a third of the position, I'm obviously not convicted in it, and I just wanted to nibble in, and that was dumb. I go in or I go out. And people will say, oh, nibble in. If it goes up, then you win. If it comes back down, you average down. Never frown, like you say, average down. But I don't play it that way usually in investment portfolio. I'm usually in or I'm out. And, sometimes I'll sell part of the winner, but I usually don't just scale into it. And now I look at this thing, and I'm supposed to be scaling because I said I would do it. And I look at it and I was like, I don't even want to do it now because I'm down already. And I hate adding to losers. It's just like it's from trading, obviously, that, I've never been a fan of adding to losers because I feel like that gives you more pain. And, yes, some of them come back, but the ones that don't really murder you. So I have struggles even in my investment portfolio adding to losers. So I don't know.
Yeah, you're not a contrarian. You watch CNBC, you buy AMD. And then all the analysts giving upgrades.
That's the two, AMD and Micron. Yeah, I'm watching too much CNBC. You're exactly right. That's what's happened to me here. Usually, and then I buy the Kraft Heinz, and that's my style is buying the Kraft Heinz. And my best investments are ones that I've taken heat on off the hop. I don't know why that is. It's because you're buying when they're, well, I know why it is, because you're buying when they're in the gutter and everybody hates them. It's almost impossible to call the actual bottom. But when the dust settles, these things just get overdone. And when you go back to valuations and stuff gets cheaper, that's usually the time you want to strike in your long-term investment portfolio. Like right now, everybody is hating on Procter & Gamble. You won't find anybody bullish Procter & Gamble out there at $72. They were all bullish as hell at 90. Oh, we got, there was talking about, obviously, who's the activist that was in Procter & Gamble? Peltz in there, and everybody was pumping Procter & Gamble. I heard so many bullish people up at 90. Now it's crickets. The thing's at 72. They're doing it all backwards. I bought Procter & Gamble once at 68. I will buy it here again at 68. I'd love to get it back because I wrote it from 68. I sold it when everybody loved it at 90. I'm going to rebuy the stock at 68, and it's only 4 points away now. I think I'm going to get it.
Let me take the quick lead here. I just want to go back to yesterday. Did you see Square got Citron?
Is that what happened with it? I was wondering what happened with it.
Yep.
What did he say?
He said that it's like, worth $30 or something?
Yeah, short-term target is $30. It started as an innovative payment company, but now they're just another processor. Collection of yawn businesses. Wall Street's drunk on Bitcoin nonsense. Square's cash to Bitcoin trading has been insignificant. Even with hypergrowth, it's still 40% too rich.
It's always been a multiple thing with me, and valuation thing with me, and that's why I've struggled to put in my investment portfolio. I wanted to do it, I just haven't been able to do it.
He knows. He knows when to pick on these things, man. It came off. He came off hard off the all-time high, and then made another weak rally at 52. Break it down again. My big level will be $44. You didn't quite take that out yesterday. Didn't even get near it. 45.76 with the low, but just trying to draw a line across. 44, that's a support. We'll see if that holds. I'm not sure where he put his target at, maybe $30. One other stock that I want to cover in the chat, John Smith asked us to cover HUN earnings, and that's Huntsman. Is that, what do they make, outdoor equipment or something like that? Is that right there, Brentster? Huntsman Corporation? Spencer, you got the report there?
96 cents versus an 80-cent estimate. Nice. Sales 2.3 versus $2.17 billion. So a beat on the top and the bottom for Huntsman.
Well,
I don't know. Stock's just trading here up 50 cents. I don't follow the stock, actually. I think I might have made one or two trades in my life on the stock, so I don't follow it closely there. So we can look at the technicals. You can do a technical on anything here. Kind of in the middle of nowhere to me, 28 to 32. I guess you could say it was a 50% retracement and try to hold, kind of make a couple lows the last couple days there. But wait till the earnings digest, because we know they can be wild off earnings reports.
Major support is the 29.40 level. Buyer's been stepping up there 4 out of the last 5 sessions, so I'll keep an eye on that as major support. You got a little pop up to 30.54, less than 1,000 shares. I think the big number for me is going to be clearing 31.33 or 31.34, 31.39. That's still a buck away when it's already trading up 48 cents. I think if you can clear, get you 31.50, then you got maybe some clear sailing here. But very leery. The longer it takes to get, actually, there's 3 highs between 134 and 139. So that's your major resistance, major support at 29.40, just kind of floating around in the middle.
Jump over here to Shopify earnings, SHOP. They reported here this morning. Stock was getting a lift here. Now starting to get a drift.
You got to shop around with Shopify. 4-cent EPS beat the 5-cent loss estimate. Nice 9-cent beat there. Sales 214 versus $202 million. Fiscal year sales guidance coming in higher than the estimate. Estimate was at $997 million. What they said it was it would be $1 to $1.01 billion.
Joel, thoughts on Shop?
Quick thoughts. You need to get up to yesterday's high at 134.43 and clear that. Things open up after that. Coming back on the downside, they hit this thing initially to 124.20. That's where you got your rebound, and that just happens to be your 2-day low. So that's your major support. Yesterday's low at 127.01.
Nutrisystem, DC wants to know about in the chat, and they did report earnings there after the bell yesterday. Spencer, details.
9-cent EPS versus 6-cent estimate. Sales 210 versus 207 million dollars. They are also raising their guidance. They raised it for Q2 EPS they raised for the fiscal year. The Q2 EPS guidance came in light. The Q2 sales guidance came in line. The fiscal year EPS guidance, like I said, was raised by 5 cents from $1.99 to $2.04 on the low end. The fiscal year sales guidance also raised by $8 million on the low end from $685 million to $693 million.
Stock is still trading the green. I thought I saw it higher than this, though, Joel.
Yeah, there was a bogus print up at 40.50. I don't know how.
When did that happen?
That happened. It was 505 shares on the bracket. You're 7 to 7.15.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
whatever.
Major paint the tape, or somebody just going, oops.
Yeah, one or the other. Big number here, though. And we're trading at 32.55. 33.75 gets you into that whole gap area. Maybe that was from the last earnings report. So I could give you two highs in the lower 35 handle, two highs, 32.15, 32.35. That's where we're trading now. If it holds in there, yeah, maybe 33.75, you get into the gap area. But with such little volume here, it's hard to put a little confidence in the stock trading up $3.55.
Yeah, and like you said, there is that 33.75 high. I don't think until you get in that gap area that the Bulls take control. The Bears are still in control here, so this is one that has potential to leak. Get above 33.55, then it does get interesting. There's a ton of earnings reports here. There aren't that many ratings reports. I just want to go just leave earnings just for a minute here. We can pop back. And if there's any earnings stock, like we said them before in the chat that you want to talk about, let us know. But I want to preview Apple just a little bit here because we're going to get Apple here tonight. It is trading up substantially here in the pre-market. It had a wicked rally off the open yesterday. So it opened down and rallied 5 straight bucks in like the first 20 minutes. And people were scrambling for a headline. I'm sure there was something there for a catalyst, but you caught a lot of people, maybe playing it from the short side there, thinking you're going to follow through weakness, and it squeezed the hell out of those traders. It is trading up here again this morning. Got D.A. Davidson coming out with a $220 price target and a buy rating. That's helping. And also Carter Worth on Fast Money last night was bullish ahead of it, and that kind of kickstarted it as well. But we'll report here after the bell. Do we have estimates for Apple there, Spencer, and the Pro?
Yep.
You can grab because this is a big report.
I got you. EPS estimate $2.70. Sales estimate $61.19 billion.
So I'm very torn here. Obviously, I'm still going to keep this in my investment portfolio, but as a trade, I'm torn. It has been weak going into the report. I feel like they're going to beat the number. I mean, Apple always beats the numbers, and it's going to be about guidance going forward there. I said yesterday on the show, I was like, maybe they report a weak number, but then you got that nice lift yesterday. Now it makes you think that, maybe, they could squeeze them in here too, because when you see a 5-point move like nothing, it means there's a few people who are probably still short Apple as well. It's going to be an interesting tape here today. Let's see how it goes into it. You're kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like if you just want to talk, support and resistance for major moves, 180 is like the Rock of Gibraltar up there. And if for whatever reason it gets back up there, I think you find sellers. I don't think it's rallying 14 points on it, but I think they're calling on the straddle for 7 or 8 point move. So if it gets overdone, I like the 180 as a short, and down at 150 was the buy. So you're kind of in the middle here.
Intermediate support building at the 160 level. Two lows, 61.22 and 60.63. So there's your major support, but man, we're quite a ways away from that. 66.53, that's where you're trading. Let's see what happens at yesterday's high. Yesterday's high was 167.26. You had another high on the 23rd on its way down at 66.92. So 167, if it holds above that, you got some room to the upside. I just think there'll be a little position squaring ahead of the report. Big day tomorrow. We are going to have Michael Olson at 8:35. He's the Piper Jaffray analyst that took over for Gene Munster. And then Gene's on the move, Dennis. We're not going to get him until 9:15 tomorrow. So I know you'll be busy getting ready for the open, but it's thorough coverage you're going to get of Apple earnings anywhere on Wall Street. So looking forward to that.
This market is so wishy-washy and right now, and I think Apple is going to be maybe a guide for it a little bit because just like Apple in the middle of the range, SPY is really in the middle of the range too. I mean, it's funny how much, you look at the market and you look at Apple and you can say, they're separate, but again, of the QQQs, I think Apple's 14%. So, it's the most market influence, I think, still. You can say, oh, it's Netflix or it's Facebook. Those things get hot, but everybody watches Apple. I mean, still out of all of this, the big guns, and, there's Amazon obviously too, but I feel like Apple has a lot of influence on the overall market.
All right, Todd. Go ahead, Dennis. I'll let you go.
No, I'm just going to jump over. We just mentioned Apple with the ratings change. The only other ratings really of note here this morning, and there is some news in the sector, was Regeneron. It's getting downgraded at Guggenheim here. Had a rough day yesterday. I forget, was there some drug news on REGN yesterday there, Spencer? There was something happening there. It was weak ahead of the, I don't know if it was earnings or drugs or what it was. There was news. I saw it go by on my tape yesterday.
There was news. It was with Sanofi, right? Because they're working together on that drug, and they announced the FDA is going to conduct a priority review of a drug I'm not going to pronounce right now, with the potential treatment for advanced cutaneous squamous cell carcinoma. So, some drug they're working on with, or I think that is a. Either they're with Sanofi on that, or they're working on competing drugs. I'm honestly not even clear right now.
They hit it yesterday. You said it was a downgrade, Dennis, or an upgrade?
Yeah, downgrade this morning.
It's downgraded, but they're not caring about the downgrade because it's actually bid up.
It's bid up. It's trading up $1.32. Big range yesterday. Support under 300. You dipped there in the last two sessions and then closed substantially off it. So I'll call 300 support. If you go into reverse, still $6 away from yesterday's high at 311. I really can't give you anything in between that. So 300 to 311 early range, just not the overall best looking chart here.
There's just a ton of other news here this morning too. There was a deal with Express Scripts and Sanofi, and then they're slashing the one drug price, the cholesterol drug.
Too much.
I'm looking, it's like 20 headlines on this, so I don't have time to read all those headlines. So there's definitely more than just the downgrade though.
Okay, let's go to the chat here, and the chat is asking about a couple stocks.
Sure.
Legend, LGND.
I haven't looked at this for a long time.
Ooh, look at this. I wonder if the Reverend has been getting a little bit active again. I would look at this thing. It went to one.
It's hanging. It looks like it's hanging on a cliff.
Oh, it does. Look at that. 152.70. Well, this is so wide. It's I see 152.73 was the low from yesterday, and got another low at 150. It just better hold yesterday's low. It's hit that area 3 out of 4 times. If not, looking for another leg down. And if by some chance this goes into a rally mode, get your offers out in a 159 handle. Your last 3 highs, 159.04 to 159.62. So I think, when are we going to have the Reverend back on? Is it Friday? Let me look at my schedule. No, it's not Friday. We're going to have the Reverend
next Friday.
Next Friday.
The 11th.
Good job. Look at Spencer back in the saddle already. Let's see here. What else do we got in the chat?
LGND, I'm just going to say, you can do measured moves too. It's something we don't talk about there, but a lot of times what you see happen is a stock comes down very quickly, then consolidates in an area for 4 or 5 days. More often than not, the original move is dictating the next move. It usually doesn't just bounce back and get those losses. Actually, usually, so I would say you had a 15-point move from like the 169 area down to 153. Now you've consolidated between 153 and 159 for 3 or 4 days. If it takes out the 153, then you could say you could have like another 12, 13-point move, which would bring us down to the 140 area, maybe 143, 144. So I would like playing through the 152. I like it as a short.
Now I think I came up with the same number, but I think I came up with different math. I came up with
well, you're better at math than me.
I'm looking at the measured move from 185 down to one.
Taking it from further out.
Yeah, so a 30-point move down, and then you take that projection from that 172 high. You skim 30 off that, and it takes it down to 140, 142. So I'm looking at 140, 142, and then you're doing the math there, and I'm like, what is he talking about? But wow, 140, 142 looks like a great number. Yeah, it better hold
That's
here.
Canadian math.
All right.
That's like Canadian math for you. All right.
ADR, BP. You want to do BP earnings?
Yeah, do BP. And I mean, you can say it's an ADR, but it's so actively traded over here. I feel like it's not an ADR because it trades like 5 million shares over here too. So BP had earnings here.
Wait,
it's trading up a little bit.
You haven't seen them yet?
I haven't seen them. Hold on, let me look.
I think they reported. They're trading up and the oil's down, so I would assume it had to have reported.
Someone just tweeted at you to talk about BP. Is that where you saw that? That was weird.
Let me just see here. No, it's in the chat. So BP, I've got it here. BP reported in London, 72 cents versus 68. It looks like. I'm just, and obviously I'm not as good as this as Spencer, but it reported. It looks like, oh man, there's just a ton of headlines here too. It looks like 4:00 this morning it was reporting. So because I always see over in London, so it's trade actively. They've already had the conference call over there too. They're talking about oil trading above average pricing. Trading earnings more than 100 million higher than normal. We get gas trading earnings. So they're saying lots of good things here. It looks like on the conference call from this morning. But remember, this is already open and traded in London for a long time. So kind of price discovery has already happened. If you want to look at levels over here though, and levels over here do affect the prices, I'll just tell you, $45. That is your number. 140,000 shares there are offered in the book on New York. So I think that puts a lid on it. But obviously, there's a lot of other factors involved here, and this is not really the primary market, although it's very active here as well.
45. I'm not going to disagree with you there. Trading up 32 cents at 44.91. You did take 45 a few times here. So that is your resistance. And this chart actually looks pretty good since when was that? When the oil was just pouring into the Gulf of Mexico. Remember that pipe that they showed? Was it the Gulf of Mexico? That big spill? What was that?
That was. That's never come back from
junior high school.
The stock was like $55. You go to the monthlies, and the stock was. You got to go way back. I think you're going back. Yeah, no, it's right there. It was in 2000. Was it 2000?
It was 2010. It was 2010. April 20th,
2010.
Yes.
So where was the price in 2010? Because we never come back from then. Not even close. I think it was like at $65, $70. Wasn't
good
it?
call. Good call. It was.
It's going off right off my memory. I'm bringing up a chart right now to verify it.
January of 2010, it was 62.38.
It never came back. You want to know why? Because I put in my investment portfolio when it went from 70 to. I put in my investment portfolio went from 70 to 50, and obviously it got a lot uglier than that and went all the way down to like the 20s. It came back, and I've been even on it before because I think I bought at 50 as I got up to 51, 52 a couple times, but. I've just stuck with it. I've had that in there for 7-8 years. Paid a nice dividend the whole time. It's paid like 4 or 5% dividend. So obviously over this course of the years, I've got some nice money out of it. But on the capital appreciation side, there has not been any capital appreciation since that oil spill.
All right. Let's try and get 2 more quick ones in. I can't feel my Facebook is asking about Grubhub. GRUB. Never had food delivered from there. But how they doing? Trading up to 11. Must have had a good report.
Are they due to report today? I don't. They're not even on my calendar to report.
I'm going to look. There has to be some news. When we have $2, what if there's no news? I'm going to look too. So we're both looking. We're checking our sources there. Grubhub.
Well, you guys.
You know what? I don't have it either.
All right, I made it up.
What's this up on? Wait. Last night, Chipotle, Grubhub.
Light volume.
Chipotle partners with DoorDash for food delivery. I don't know. Is that
that wouldn't. That wouldn't do it.
It's under the Grubhub stuff, but anyways, I don't know what the news is here. We're stumped on this one. It's up $2. So chat, help us out if there's something that's moving this. It's not jumping out to us.
103.99. That was your April 24th high, and 105.68 was your 23rd high. If in fact this rally can continue, well, Tuesdays at 8:35, folks. You know what we do? We bring in Nick Chahine. He's the author of Create Income with Option Spreads. Joins us to give his technical. Fundamental outlooks on the markets, and I know he's been getting down and dirty in Apple here ahead of the report. Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Good, man. You sound nice and crisp and clear here way out there in California. How you doing? Tell me what Apple's going to report, how the street's going to react, and what you're going to do.
Well, I already did what I wanted to do. I went long Apple when it was falling. And yesterday I booked some profits and left some runners. So whatever I'm taking, which are calls, they're hedged by the fact that I already booked some profit and I sold some short-term calls against them. for this week. So whether I keep them overnight, I'm not sure. It all depends on the price action in Apple today.
You said it took a couple stabs, though, didn't it, Nick? I mean, this thing was coming down pretty hard. And did you have to take a couple stabs at it, or did you just kind of take that initial position and kind of trade it? Because it's precipitous fall here from one.
No, we definitely took a couple of stabs. You're right, and a couple of them were credit put spreads. I can't remember exactly when the last couple of weeks I sold some put spreads in Apple, one for July, one for November. They were kind of a slower moving trades for somebody who doesn't want to be actively trading. At, I'll give you levels, 145, 140 for July and 130, 125 for November. Collected about 65 cents for each, and now they're about 45-ish to close. So somebody can close them and be not long Apple and have booked profits already, or close half. So yeah, I tried a couple of times. A couple of the call setups were somewhat frustrating, but because every morning I say book profits where you have them, I do the same thing. So I practice what I preach. So anytime I see green, I'm out. And that's the problem with the markets. Can't trust it with the headlines flying left and right. So the rallies don't have a lot of legs.
Can you explain that a little bit? Because even though it did have a big decline, you were going, quite away from price. You were probably selling them when there was high volatility. So even though it didn't go, raging up, just talk about that decay and then the VIX coming in and working for you.
Sure. Credit put spread, it's basically a bullish directional trade where if I say, okay, I'm safe at Apple at 130 through November, then I commit to being long it at that level by selling risk down there. For that, I collect money. And if I do it on a day where Apple is falling, the price is falling, so the premiums are elevated. And on top of it, the overall market is elevated as far as fear. So that juices everything up with regards to put premiums. So I sell at a high level. So somebody who's rushing, panicking to buy protection in Apple or buy a lottery ticket, chasing downside prices late, they pay for the premium I collect. Then on a day like yesterday, where Apple was rallying, I can close it for a profit because suddenly the premium deflates tremendously in Apple specifically because it was spiking. So then you have the chance to sell that stuff, buy back the risk, but at a much lower price than the one you collected, and the difference is your profit.
Let's talk fundamentals a little bit here. Texas Linda is saying, Nick, you were right about the tariffs in Korea. And Angie Baby confirmed on that. So did you?
Cool.
What did you say? Did you talk about that? I don't remember.
I think my views on tariffs are that there are olive branches being extended and that cooler heads will prevail. That's my general consensus on it, that the inflamed headlines are way worse than what actually is going to hit the street. So I think the North Korea peace talks were actually the works of China behind the scenes as a deal, part of the, hey, we're doing good here, so don't hit us with tariffs left and right. So the $150 billion headline number on tariffs, I think, is totally overblown.
All right, let's move over here to some stocks that already reported today. I'll throw Merck out there. Not a real sexy stock here. We did talk about it a little earlier. Or Nick, if you got another issue that you want to talk about as well, we can go there. But let's take a look at Merck.
Okay, so you say it's not exciting. I'm looking at the share price. Oh my gosh, it's been pretty volatile. So
as of late,
say what?
Well, it did. It rallied from 53.5 to over 60. So I retract that statement.
Yeah, it's definitely been active recently, and it all depends. I think Pfizer reported this morning, and it's down. Merck, is it down this morning? I didn't look at Merck.
It's flat right now. Giving back some of the gains though. Okay. It was up about 59.50 on the initial numbers. Now it's leaking.
So I don't like the fact that it's setting lower highs as a trend. So 61-ish would be the lower high that it recently set, and I don't like the fact that it rose so fast. So it leaves it vulnerable to fast profits, but although it is digging a way back from a hole, so not an obvious place for me to go long Merck. How about if I say that?
I just want to say and just chime in here that there's some big imbalances here this morning. We didn't talk about them. They just came out at 8:30, and they're all to the sell side. I'm not sure if it's just one institution. These are going to get offset, or if this is something, but I'm seeing, across the board, a lot of Dow stocks. Coca-Cola, 213,000 a sell. I'm looking at Pfizer, which had earnings, 196,000 a sell. AT&T, 313,000 a sell. Verizon, 212,000 a sell. ExxonMobil, 114,000 a sell. McDonald's, 99,000 a sell. Walmart, 103,000 a sell. Target, 75,000 a sell. Procter Gamble, 87,000 a sell. I'm looking at GE, 226,000 a sell. These are all across the board, and it's interesting because it's a flat day. You usually see sell balances like this when we're down 10 handles, and we're pretty flat here right now. So somebody is nervous here this morning.
Well, I ran through the tickers that you were talking as fast as I could, and they're all in downtrends or have had events, except for McDonald's had that pop. So maybe it's just a profit taking on that giant gap it left yesterday.
It looks like some institution just lightening up on a big fund. Well, that's usually when you see this stuff this early, it's like one guy that's throwing out 200,000 on every stock and trying to get out. It's usually what you see, because most people don't throw out their orders at 8:30 in the morning either.
We have a small event tomorrow, it's called the Federal Reserve. So
nervous Nelly?
Yeah, I would be. Here's the reason why, because I don't think many people expect a hike.
Nope.
So if it happens, that's a surprise, and you know what markets do with surprises. So earlier you asked me what I'm looking at. I'm looking at gold. If it doesn't get a bounce soon, it could get really ugly for gold. And conversely, the dollar is looking really frisky. I regret closing my long dollars. I closed them early because a friend of mine convinced me to do that, and she's a dollar expert. So, the combination of that. What was that?
No names mentioned.
No names mentioned. Nobody you'd know anyway. So that's what I'm looking at to see if I want to take a stab at shorting gold. Oh, I did short oil yesterday. I thought the rhetoric was overblown. The fundamentals have not changed as much as people think to my opinion, I'm not an expert on oil, just a hunch. So luckily you can do a hunch trade in options. And what I chose is just to buy puts in the USO at the money out in time. So if oil falls, I'm making money. Otherwise, I have a chance to just change my mind and book it for partial losses.
Which one did I know? Which one?
I chose the USO.
Yep.
Just easy peasy. I don't want to deal with the futures at this point. So it doesn't trade very well. So if you are going to trade the USO, I suggest you stay near or at the money or even in the money.
Right. Yeah, it's a lower price issue. Nick, old favorite, Priceline, BKNG. Ed Parker's looking for a double top. What do you see?
Double top in that stock. I don't know if I'm gutsy enough to short that concept, but if I do want to short that concept, I would use a debit put spread. I definitely would not sell the stock or South credit call spreads. This is the mother of all momentum stocks in Amazon. But it will go the way of the market, in my opinion. So if the markets are rallying, I don't think this one falls on its own.
Nick, talk about a couple other stocks that are due to report here tonight, and I'm going to go over to the Gilead, G-I-L-D. It's a stock that actually has been leaking. A lot of these biotechs have been ugly. This is week into the report here. Thoughts on GILD as it reports tonight?
Yeah, I must have answered a question recently because I have this on my chart for Gilead.
Let's see what you got.
Yeah, well, something in the making that could be pretty ominous if it comes.
It looks like head and shoulders there.
Yeah,
big long one.
And no crayon.
Head though.
No crayon.
It's a really ugly head.
Well, it's not a good for me. I'm not that technical, but they do make sense when they keep coming back to hit against this one neckline. It better hold. That's all I have to say. Otherwise, lower prices definitely.
And then jump over to Snap SNAP because they're due to report here too. And that stock is sitting down here at really its lows, not too far off its lows for the years too. We had that ridiculous rally after the last earnings report. We got up to $21 and it gave it all back over the next 3 months. And here we, sit on support here, $14 again. What do you think of the Snapster?
Well, Snap, I thought that whoever bought puts on that spike was pretty smart because, I was brave enough to actually sell puts in it the first couple of times it fell, and I walked away with profits, but then I was not brave enough to chase it higher, and I didn't want to mess with it, so I didn't trade it. But it too better hold. It has a trend line that it doesn't need to lose. However, if it does fall back to 13-ish or below 14, I may sell puts in it as a trade, not an investment.
And then just one other one that's going to report here tonight, which has been all over the news, is T-Mobile, TMUS. We're going to hear from them after the bell. Obviously, they had the big fall there yesterday when they announced the official merger with Sprint here. Is this a chart that you're interested in T-Mobile, or is it just too much headlines going on in this right now?
Well, I can't sell the risk into headlines just because the headline usually will override any homework you do. So you're just gambling. But if you do want to play it via options, a debit of sorts would be the better way to go when it's a headline stock. So I would flip a coin and see which way. The fact that it's going into the earnings after a big fall makes me want to bet up because the guy can talk. So he's like the CRM head. He will spin his story positively. He's a good sales rep, as they say on TV.
Nick, before we let you go, I just want to talk to you about the XLF, the Spider Financial ETF, and boy, good earnings reports really didn't help these bank stocks here. We've come off. Fed wishy-washy, probably not going to get the rate hike, this quarter. This thing is better get up off the ground and get over 28 soon here. Give us a thought on the XLF.
Yes, I did not book my profits in calls and XLF, and I should have. I had profits for like one day. It's very disappointing. If markets are going higher, this is the group that is underpriced right now. Just from a valuation perspective, most of the banks, the major banks, are really cheap, but they could get cheaper, obviously. And I'm sitting on small losses in the XLF call spreads out in time, so I'm not rushing to close them. But I am looking at it and wondering what the heck is going on. So the fact that rates fell apart is what puts downside pressure on these guys. So if tomorrow, I don't know how the rates are going to act this week, but they're going to move based on what happens tomorrow. So they might be under pressure some more. But it should be temporary, because if the markets are rallying, these will fall on falling rates for a little bit, but then they're going to have to turn around and trade A on value and B with the markets.
I got a tough one for you. I know I said I only one more. Spotify. Okay. Big range off the IPO, battling back, getting some upgrades today. You're going to say, I'm not chasing it. What do you say? Too
I'm saying I already chased it.
You already did?
I did. I don't know anything about it. I just bought calls blind. The chart is too small, too young, I should say, to be meaningful. I bought June 185 calls, and they're up 40% almost. So I may book it and better pick a level that it has somewhat smart thought into it instead of just me completely blindly buying calls.
What made you trade from the seat of your pants, Nick, after all your in-depth analysis and technical and fundamental? Tell us.
I was listening to somebody on TV that was talking about Spotify. I was like, I know nothing about this thing. And it came in with such fierce pricing that it must have some meat behind the story. So I'm going to risk a few bucks on it. That was my entire logic.
All right. Dennis can talk about the trades that he got from TV, but we can let that go. We've been on the line with Nick Chahine. He's the author of Create Income with Option Spreads. Joins the show every Tuesday morning at 8:35. Shares thoughts on the markets. Great input, Nick. And we'll see what happens with that Apple report, and we'll be speaking to you next week.
Good luck, guys and gals.
850, Dennis, those selling balances really have not had coming off settlement.
No, you know what? They're just kind of hanging there. And a lot of stocks are trading up. So obviously somebody's saying these are going to get offset, or these are going to flip, or these just, we had big action there on the close it was end of the month, remember, on the close yesterday. And there was some major selling balances that pushed the market down. If you look even at the SPY itself, it dropped $1 in the last 2-3 minutes. And that was because there was a lot of selling balances on the close. Now, if we look here, I'm seeing a lot of sell imbalances on the open, and I just mentioned them, and I'll go through some of these again. Now, it's early here, so it's 8:50, and these are orders that are geared for the open. So, you got 40 minutes here for other orders to come in and obviously offset these. But as of right now, a lot of those Dow components would open significantly lower if they were to open right now, because there are some significant sellers there. I mean, GE is trading flat, but there's 250,000 to sell. Verizon and AT&T are both trading up, but they both have huge sell imbalances there. So, like I said, one of two things are going to happen. The stocks are going to start to go down, or those sell imbalances are going to flip to positive. So, to offset it. So, you just got to be cautious here. I'm not coming here and buying any of these stocks here right now with those big sell imbalances on the board. If they change, and they can change very quickly, all it takes is one institution. If you got it, like for example, with a stock like McDonald's, 101,000 to sell, maybe somebody booking some profits from yesterday, but all of a sudden, an institution says, okay, I'm going to buy 100,000, then that'll go to flat just with one order. So when I see all of these across the board, and a lot of them are Dow stocks, it makes me think there's just one fund that's just lightening up here this morning. They're doing it at the open.
All right, Todd, let's just do a quick recap here. We talked about Shopify having a big range. Boy, oh boy, huge range. Got up over 136, 138.37, and now we're back down at 130. So there's your wild child of the day. Yesterday's
that's just your classic, like it's been a flyer, it's been moving up, and yeah, it may not have been at 52-week highs, but put the weekly up there. It was $40 back in 2017. These are stocks that are priced for perfection still, especially with the run up ahead of it, and it's not surprising if they don't blow it away. Stock is going to start leaking. I mean, we saw an Intel excellent quarter, and they gave it all back. So stocks that are running up in the report are having a real difficult time going higher.
All right, GE here and Spinner. Remember I said I was going to buy it when it had its first up month, right? And it was.
Did it have an up month?
Yeah, it did. I see a green candle here.
Barely?
No, 1348 was your close.
Nice month for GE.
Yeah.
Spencer, you're back.
You buying more, Spencer?
No, I'm not buying more.
You got that bad GE taste in your mouth. I've had that bad GE taste in my mouth for 18 years.
He puts his GTC order in every day. So
one day he'll get me.
So 10,000 shares at 15 even.
I got my GTC in there at 30.
Spencer, do you have to disclose when you do a 13F or whatever when you get out of your positions with?
Yeah, I have tremendous size in the position. I had to disclose, yes.
Okay, I just want to know. So we'll wait when they come out. Spencer Israel liquidated, General Electric could be down. Who cares what Buffett did? Let's go here. A couple other things for Mini Me here. Let's cover
Mini Me.
Yeah, Mini Me.
You got Mini Me in the chat. Is that in our chat? Mini Me.
That's what it says.
Nice, nice. I like that name.
Boom. Trying to find some support here.
What's that?
What? AQ.
Quantia. You know what? I've never traded it. I don't think I've ever traded the stock before.
Is it a water company?
Quantia. I think it's a quant. Something to do with quants. I have no idea. I know nothing about the company. We're guessing from the name. Okay, so guess from the name. It's a question in the chat. They're probably going to, somebody's going to know, but what does a Quantia do? Spencer, do you know what they do without looking at the pro?
I just looked it up in pro. So,
yeah. What is it? Water company?
No, it is.
It's not a water. It's not Aqua.
No,
Aqua.
They are in the business of Ethernet connectivity and internet connectivity and that.
Okay. Well, something happened on Friday, and I don't know what it was, but it wasn't good. You got down to 10-10.
Lost connection.
Super volume, and then things lightened up a little bit. The volume lightened up. So if you're leaning on that 10-10 low, it was real nice. If you were paying attention to the close on Friday and you had any bullish inclination, it opened at 1050 with a 1049 low. $12, 1208. I mean, if this is really a rebound, this is going to get over 1208 today and start chugging back to that 2-day high at 1380. So it's tough technicals. This is a newer IPO. Jazz wants to know about HBI. Is that Hanesbrands?
Yeah. I know that one. Must have had a report because it's trading up significantly. It's up 4%.
You got any?
Yeah, they had earnings this morning. 26 cents versus 24 cents. 1.47 billion versus 1.43 billion. Q2 EPS guidance in line. Q2 sales guidance in line. Fiscal year EPS guidance in line. Fiscal year sales guidance in line.
All right.
People a lot of inline earnings from stock, but getting a lift.
Yep.
Dog is barking. HBI, I will say, has been a dog. Go out to the monthlies, and you can see the stock at lots of highs in the 34 area. It's basically been cut in half at 18 from where it was in 2014, 2015. Trying to make a comeback there. I don't know. I moved on. I used to wear Hanes underwear. I moved on to Duluth ones because of the commercials.
Because the commercials, really?
Yeah, I like those commercials. Like pretty comfortable underwear too.
Okay, that's
too much information.
All right. I'd say the upper 19 handle here. You got a mound of sellers. These sellers were here in March between 1934 and 1987. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 highs in a row. So let's see, up 78 cents. I mean, a breakout over 20 would just be unbelievable. But let's see if those sellers reemerge in the upper $19 handle. Down War Dog is asking about Oracle, always the late one to report in the earnings season.
Yeah.
Got beat, and now it's just clawing its way back up here. Let's see. It's trading up 20.
It always seems like it gets beat on earnings, and then eventually claws its way back up before its next earnings report. It's still got like over a month before the next one. So I'm always cautious selling Oracle because it always seems like it comes back.
46. That looks like it's an important level. You've had a couple highs just above and below 46. So we'll see. It's trading up 23 cents. Clearing 46 would be good. Let's see here.
Multiple questions about imbalances here, and we have to explain them for a while, and I talk about them every show, so let's just explain them. T-Mac and I Can't Feel My Facebook is asking about these imbalances that I'm talking about. So what I'm looking at is the New York Stock Exchange. From these numbers are disseminated from the floor beginning at 8:30 in the morning, and it's showing you orders that are on the NYSE that are geared for the open. These are not executable until the open, so these are not pre-market orders. These are orders that are geared for the open. And the reason, and there's a question, great one from the chat from T-Mac here, he says, why don't these sell imbalances? Why don't these people just execute in the pre-market? The simple answer is this is not the volume there. So on most of these stocks, you can't sell 200,000 shares of Verizon at the open. I mean, Verizon has traded 7,000 shares today. If you try to sell 200,000 shares of Verizon in the pre-market, the stock would go to zero. There's just not the volume in the pre-market to be there. They know there will be volume at the open, though, because there'll be other institutions that are trading as well. Now, 200,000 is such a large order that there may not even be that much. The better way, and if I was an institution, would be, and the most of them are doing this now, are using algorithms. They're slowly getting, BWAP, slowly putting these orders into the market. But you have some institutions that just go big. And the ones that go big move price. And that's why we really look at these orders in the morning and look at the imbalances in the morning, because it gives you an indication on whether, the stock is going to open weak or strong. On most days, when you see a big sell imbalance in a stock, it will usually open in the red. So it's just information for you as pre-market and as day traders to be aware of, because with price, it is all about the big fish. And the big fish is what moves price. People will say, oh, it's high-frequency traders that move price. Those people don't know what they're talking about. High-frequency traders are your market makers. They're more noise. They're in and out, in and out, in and out. They're not moving price 50 cents a dollar. It is still institutions, big money that is moving price. High-frequency traders are trying to detect those big orders so they know which way to go with. And we as day traders are kind of like, short, a little bit longer term high frequency traders, where we're trying to come in and also detect those big fish. You need to know where those big fish are in the market, because they are the ones that are going to move the price. So these orders are very important to look at in the morning. At the close, not so much, because it's so much institutional action. At the close, everything gets offset. But at the open, there isn't as much institutional action. So when you see a few big orders, it can very much move the price.
All right, let's just break down the S&Ps here. 12-point range, 53.75. You absolutely have to take that out, and then things open up. We came down hard yesterday. I have one target if I'm going long in that area at 58.75, and then just float back up in the 60 handle. Coming back on the downside, I'm not going to get super bearish if we take out that 41.25 low, because I want to see what happens at 39.5. That was your low from last Thursday. Now, if in fact that doesn't hold, then we may be doing some work down at last week's low at 26.11.25. That's going to wrap things up for today. Spencer, what's on the docket for
you already mentioned.
That's right,
Mike Olson from Piper Jaffray would join us to break down Apple's earnings that we're going to get today after the bell, and that'll kind of lead the show tomorrow. So that's it for us today, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks to Nick Chahine for stopping by. Thanks to all of you who stopped by in our chats on premarket.benzinga.com and youtube.com/Benzinga TV. Hope you all have a good rest of your morning, and we will see you folks on Wednesday.